Are you struggling to find the perfect foundation for your skin type? Has your skin type changed since you went through menopause or are in perimenopause? You're not alone. For many, many years, I had a foundation, mascara, a whole skincare regime that worked perfectly for my premenopausal skin. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't working anymore, and I had to start from ground zero. So here is the process that I went through in order to find the exact foundation formula that would work perfectly for my skin, for my lifestyle, and for where I live here in very humid Florida. Let's take a minute, get out a mirror, and look at your skin with gentle curiosity. What are the things that you love about your skin? Do you have one of those complexions that's still peaches and cream? Or do you have a few brown spots, dark circles, or other things that you would like to cover? Those kinds of questions and what your natural aesthetic is really important to finding just the right products to work. The next thing is to pay attention to the actual skin type that you have. For many of us, as we go through menopause, the skin type changes. We may be a little more sensitive. We may have rosacea. We may have breakouts of varying sorts from hormonal situations, or our skin just might not tolerate the makeup that we have been using. We also might go from being very oily to less oily, or maybe from dry to very dry. And so sometimes those subtle changes in our skin make it so that the products that we were using aren't working as well anymore. If you're anything like me, your skin tone has changed a little. Mine went from being warm to being a little bit more neutral, which meant that the colors had to subtly change in order to look right on my skin and with my changing hair color. So that's another thing. It may not even be the actual foundation formula. It may just be the color, and the color needs to be adjusted a little bit. And that's why it's not looking quite the same as it did when you were a little bit younger. The next thing we're going to do is kind of go through the various types of makeup, and I'll talk about the pros and the cons and some things to think about as you consider what type of product that you might be interested in. Let's talk about those of you who have beautiful skin and don't like to wear a lot of makeup. You would likely do well with something that is like a tinted moisturizer. Tinted moisturizers come oftentimes with all kinds of really good things for the skin. They often come with sunscreens in them. They often come with vitamin C. They often have other good things that are really nice for the skin. They're wonderful because they don't require a lot of touch-up. You can put it on in the morning and you look great all day because your skin underneath is already so beautiful. It doesn't settle into lines and wrinkles because it's so light, and if there is any kind of little bit of wrinkling, then you can just easily, gently tap it out. Tinted moisturizer can also be used in conjunction with powders. It can be used in conjunction with other cream products. So if you were, say, for example, to use a tinted moisturizer, you could use a powder blush, a cream blush, or no blush at all if that was your liking. Tinted moisturizer is the easiest and the kind of the most fun. I've always been jealous of people who can wear a tinted moisturizer because I am a girl who can't. And here are the kind of contraindications of people who don't do as well with tinted moisturizer. Number one, I have large pores, and the shine and sheen just draws attention to the large pores that I have. I also have brown spots, and I like coverage. And so when I wear a tinted moisturizer, all of that shows, and I don't like it. So for me, a tinted moisturizer is a no-go. But if you are one of those people who is blessed with beautiful skin and you just want a little something extra, tinted moisturizer is going to be your game. Powder foundation was a huge favorite of mine as a younger woman. I loved it because it was so easy to go on. I would just use this powder spongy puff and just put it on. I could easily touch it up during the day. It gave a velvety finish and it works beautifully with other powder products. There are a few catches, however. It is very easy for powder foundation to get cakey looking, particularly if you have drier skin type. So it's a little bit harder for people who have a drier skin type. The next type of foundation out there is a cream foundation. These come in either a stick or compact form. I love this for when I'm in a rush. I just apply it. I quickly take a brush or my fingers and blend it out. This is what I usually wear on the days that we go to the gym because it's so quick and easy to apply. It is really great. Cream products like this do very nicely with other cream products and powders. So it is one of those more versatile products. You do get a heavier coverage. It has a buildable coverage. The coverage sort of also depends on how you apply it. If you do it like I do, I just apply it directly to the skin and then I just grab a brush and kind of blend it out. And then if I have some spots that need a little bit of extra, then I can easily add a little bit more to those spots. They're great for all skin types, though I would say that people with very dry skin probably would find it a little bit too heavy. The final type of product that we have is the classic foundation, liquid foundation. These come in all types of finishes. They're beautiful satin finishes, matte finishes, and finishes with a little bit of glow. This one, the Dior Backstage, is a favorite of mine. If you'd like something with a little bit more of a soft glow, the Armani is beautiful. I'm currently between Armanis. I just used one up, so I don't have one to show you today, but it is another favorite of mine because it gives just a little bit of a glow to the skin, but not so much that an oily skin or somebody is more prone to oily skin would have a problem. This particular foundation is kind of a very light texture, but it provides anywhere from light to full coverage. Now the final thing when it comes to these types of products is what we kind of remember, the full coverage. And I have a couple of full coverage products. One of them is the CC Plus cream, and then there's also the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Now these are full coverage, very nice finish products, but they tend to be a little bit challenging if you are a person who has never been a makeup wearer before, or if you are someone who likes to get out the door quickly. What I use when I apply my Double Wear or my CC Plus is I'll typically apply it with a sponge, and I use a magnifying mirror so that I can see the spots that might be a little bit too heavy or too light. It is a more time-consuming application. It does give that long wear. It does give a beautiful finish. It does cover everything. And so for some of us, myself included, having Double Wear in the arsenal is a great thing. When it comes to price points, a lot of the foundations range in groups. For example, L'Oreal is one of the products that has a wonderful broad line of beautiful foundations for women with a bunch of different kinds of skin types. It comes at a very modest price point, and it's a great product. Clinique also falls into that category. They have a variety of different foundation formulas. And of course, Clinique is part of the Estee Lauder line, which draws us across to Lancome and also to the Double Wear. And some of those products are very, very similar to one another, but they have slightly different price points. So that's something to bear in mind when you're making a choice between the concept of the dupe. You know, you may want a product that is, say, the Armani, but you can find something very similar in the L'Oreal line, for example. The final thing to discuss is how to find the color that is going to work best for you. And there are a couple of different things that you can start to do at home. The one thing is obviously the vein test. You can look at the vein in your wrist, and if you can see that it looks more green, then you're more of a warm tone person. If it looks more blue, you're more of a cool tone person. If you have veins that are, in my case, I can see both blue and sort of green, then I kind of fall in that neutral category. And so that's another thing that when you go to look for makeup and foundations to kind of keep in mind. The next thing you can do after you sort of have a sense for what kind of color is going to be best for you, you can go ahead and have your color checked. The Estee Lauder counters are always super helpful in helping you choose the color. The only thing about it is that they have very distinct names for the colors that they have. And so it's hard to know, well, is that a neutral color? Is that a warm color? Is that a cool color? Usually the women working at the counter know that, and they'll be able to tell you, so that then when you go to look for in other lines, you can find the right color if you want to try other lines. The other brand that does a beautiful job with color is the Dior line. And even if you don't buy out of the Dior line, you can get colors selected for it. And what they do is they have all of their makeup across all of the different textures are all done by a number. So mine happens to be 1.5N, and I can buy concealer. I just go over to the counter, I tell a girl 1.5N, she can grab that right out for me. If I want to try a different formula, I just ask her for the 1.5 in the formula that I want to try, and it takes all of the guesswork out of picking the color. But once I know that 1.5N, then I can type that into the search in, when you're looking at foundations, and on Sephora and some of the other websites, they will actually take that information and tell you what color will look good or be similar in other lines. So now that we have the computer, it's a lot easier. Now I did do the quiz with the Il Maquillage, or that's how you say it, I think. And I was so surprised to find out how perfectly my color match came out. And I'm not like being paid by the brand or anything like that at this point, but I was really surprised that I filled out the quiz and they sent me a product and it worked perfectly on my skin type. So don't be afraid to give those kind of things a try. And a lot of times if you buy online, you can return the items and adjust the color. If you really fall between two different colors, I've done this before where I've bought two different ones. Like for example, with my powder foundation, I have two different powder foundations in the same line, and I just sort of mix them together to get the color that I want. So if you're a little bit more high maintenance like I am, I definitely will sometimes blend two colors together to get the color that I want. I hope that this has helped you to understand the different nuances with foundation, and that it will give you some direction into where to start looking as you choose a foundation that's going to be perfect for you.